What's up, guys? So we've had more requests for a Porsche Boxster buyer's guide than we have for any other car. So here it is. We've covered everything from the first 986 models back in 1997 all the way up to the brand new 718s. Hope you enjoy. We're going to see a lot of similarities between the Boxster and the Cayman analysis we did a couple months ago. The depreciation of the Boxster follows a very similar curve. Now, in addition to the Boxster and the Boxster S, we're also going to cover the Black Edition, the Spyders, and the GTS. There's a couple other more special edition cars, but there's not enough of them on the market to really find accurate numbers, so we're just going to concentrate on these main 5 cars. We've used the same methods that we have in all of our other videos, so I'm not going to go into those. If you're interested, check the descriptions. I've listed everything down there. When examining these charts, you want to pay attention to the colors. The dark, bold colors are representative of the current market value of these cars, while the lighter color is what they were going for when they were new. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into some numbers. We start at the top with the most expensive Boxster, the Spyder. You can see the Spyder models highlighted here in orange. The Spyder was only made for a couple of years, and the best way to differentiate the Spyder from a normal Boxster are the humps on the rear deck lid. In addition, they also came with performance upgrades, sportier suspension, and some aesthetic upgrades as well. You can basically think of the Spyder as the convertible version of the Cayman GT4. It's not quite as hardcore as the GT4, but they do share the same 3.8 liter motor that was found in the 911 Carrera S. The latest Spyder is supposed to be the last and the best naturally aspirated Boxster that Porsche will ever produce, and the market values are showing that. The 981 Spyder is currently selling for about $10,000 to $20,000 more than what the original MSRP was on the car. Now that car didn't generate quite the buzz that the GT4 did, but it's holding its value pretty well in comparison. You can attribute a lot of that to the specialness of the car, but then you have to remember these are still brand new. They were just made in 2016, so the market hasn't exactly leveled out. Now, like the Cayman GT4, I can see these cars holding their value well and even appreciating in the future, but they still got a little bit more depreciation left to do in the next couple years, especially when the 718 model comes out, which is rumored to have a naturally aspirated motor instead of the new turbos. The 987s are currently selling for around 80% of the original MSRP. That's great for a 5 to 6 year old car, and I think the 981 has potential to do even better, but only time will tell. Next up on our list is the Black Edition cars. Now these are a little bit odd. They've only been made in 2 years, which was 2012 and 2016. The 2012 model was based on the Boxster S, and the 2016 was based on just the base Boxster. Now the one from 2012 was actually a bargain because the car had increased performance, it had a lot of standard equipment that the standard Boxster S didn't have, and some aesthetic upgrades. If you'd compare a Boxster S that was equipped the same as the Black Edition, the Black Edition was much cheaper, making it a pretty good deal. Now on the other hand, the 2016 is really just an aesthetics upgrade to the base Boxster. Since it's only a year old, it's a little too early to tell exactly what the market's going to be like for this car, but if I had a wager, I would bet it's going to be a lot like the 991 911 Black Edition, which, like the Boxster, was just an aesthetic upgrade and doesn't really draw any type of premium as far as price goes. Now I think there was a little nomenclature error here from Porsche. The 2016 Black Edition, I think that's correct because that was just an aesthetics and standard equipment upgrade on the base car, but the 2012, that's a little different. Since it was based on the Boxster S and included performance upgrades along with the aesthetics and standard equipment, I think it didn't really fit the definition of a Black Edition. If only Porsche had a model designation for cars that were equipped better and had better performance than the S models. Oh wait, they do. It's called the GTS. The GTS is basically an S model with increased performance, a styling overhaul, and better standard equipment. Sound familiar? That's exactly what the 2012 Black Edition was. Now with the 911s, there were separate GTS models and Black Edition models, but for some reason Porsche decided to lump those together into the Boxster. But enough about the Black Editions, let's talk about the GTS. The Boxster GTS wasn't introduced until 2015 and has only been produced for 2 years, 2015 and 2016. Like the Cayman GTS, the Boxster version was priced a little bit higher than what a S model with similar options would cost. And just like the Cayman, it's holding its value better than the S models. But it doesn't do quite as well. The Cayman GTS didn't really take a huge depreciation hit right off the bat. But if you look at the charts, you'll see how steep the Boxster GTS curve is, especially compared to the base and S models. Boxster GTS depreciation behaves more like a 911 than it does a Boxster, which means that it should start to level out in about 2 to 3 years after taking the initial depreciation hit. Base and S model cars perform exactly the way you would think they would on the used market. You see bumps in value after new models are released and after mid-cycle refreshes, especially after the refresh that updated the IMS bearing issues. So quickly, any car after 2009 doesn't have the IMS bearing problem at all. Cars made from 2005 to 2008 have a chance of failure. Cars before that have a higher risk. To no one's surprise, those older, higher risk 986s are going to be the cheapest Boxster and Boxster S's. The depreciation on these cars has completely leveled out, around 75% off original MSRP, and you can find these all day in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. Moving up to the 987s, you can find a first-gen Boxster for about $20,000 and Boxster S's go for about $25,000. But I'd rather pay a few thousand more and get one of the Gen 2 cars, which aren't really that much more than the first generation. Now moving on to the 981s, you can find the base Boxsters for about $40,000 and Boxster S's go for about $50,000. Now these are only on cars that are about 3 to 4 years old that have taken that initial depreciation hit already. Lastly, the 718s. These are just too new and you can't get a good bargain on one right now. If you really want one, expect to pay around $70,000 for it. So, which car is right for you? I know your price range is going to play a big part in that, but let's go over all the models just so we can cover everything. Personally, I don't think that the GTS or the Spyders are worth the extra cost. Now I know from our Cayman video that a lot of you don't agree with that perspective. I've heard plenty of arguments that you shouldn't put a price on the enjoyment of owning a Porsche, but I think that's garbage. Part of the enjoyment for me is knowing that I got a good deal on whatever it is I bought, and the special edition cars, they just aren't that. For me, I'd be looking for an early model 981 car. They've already taken the big depreciation hit, and you can still get them with a certified pre-owned warranty from Porsche. They're also more up-to-date as far as technology and standard equipment goes, which is something that's important to me. The 987.2 is my second favorite car. No engine issues and great performance out of a Porsche that's under $30,000. It's not bad at all. I'd probably stay away from the 986 models altogether. I know that owning a Porsche for under $15,000 is really tempting, but if you want one of these cars, I hope you're good with a wrench, because these are still old vehicles and things go wrong on old cars, and these are still Porsches, so they're going to be expensive to fix. If you're not up for the task of fixing it yourself and you've got to pay somebody all kinds of money to work on these cars, wouldn't you be just better off buying a newer car that's more reliable to begin with? Now overall, you'll notice that the Boxsters don't hold their value quite as well as the Caymans do. I think a lot of this is because simply more Boxsters were made than Caymans, so there's more to go around. But you can also contribute some of it to some of the people that this type of car attracts. It's the same reason that the Cayman GT4 got a ton of press, but the Spyder really didn't. A lot of these people wanting these cars for performance would rather have a hardtop that does that better than a convertible. On top of that, I think convertibles attract a lot of people who are more interested in something flashy. Now this isn't everybody, but you've got to admit that a lot of people are interested in bright, shiny, up-to-date, new things. And that's what a convertible is for most people. Well, new ones at least. A lot of people with that mindset aren't really interested in the cars of yesterday. So that's going to contribute to the Boxster not holding its value as well as, say, the performance-oriented Caymans. But that's great news for somebody in the market for a soft top, which if you've gotten this far in this video, I bet you're one of them. So that's it, guys. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, thanks, guys.